Right now we're going to talk about some of the most underrated things about the whole Tampa, Florida area. Here we go. I'm Sam, and thanks for stopping by the Living in Tampa channel, where we make videos for you about what it's like to live and move to the Tampa area. So don't forget to subscribe to catch all our videos. We're also licensed realtors, have a big real estate team here, and we want to be your first call if you need to buy or sell or have any interest in real estate in the area. Our phone number and email are right there on the screen and in the description down below. So I was having lunch with some clients the other day, Phil and Dina. If you missed the video where I interviewed them kind of about the things that have surprised them about Tampa, that's linked up above. Check that out. And a couple of the things that they mentioned really stood out to me, and they really stand out to me as underrated things about the Tampa area. I wrote these down and then I just thought of a few more. So today it's going to be the 7 underrated things about the Tampa area. All right, the first underrated thing, and you might not think this is underrated, this might be rated or overrated, is the weather. So right now, early February, I'm at a park, a big local park, county park called John Chestnut Park, over here on the east side of Palm Harbor. And this time of year, January, February, it's so beautiful here. Like, we've had a couple days that were like 40. And when I say a couple, I mean like literally a couple, like 2 days that were in the 40s. But for the most part, it's still like 75 every day. It's a stretch to wear shorts, but it's a little chilly in the morning if you do have shorts on. There have been a few days where I have shorts on and a t-shirt, and we use my seat heater in my car for just a couple minutes as I drive to the office. But then by midday, I wish I was in shorts and flip-flops. So the weather is beautiful, super beautiful this time of year. You get a nice breeze off the water. There's a big lake on the other side of this park. And we live over kind of closer to the Gulf, so we get a lot of that breeze even, just through town. And people have asked me before, is Tampa less humid than Orlando? I'm actually heading to Orlando this evening. I'll probably make a few videos while I'm there. And Orlando is quite a bit more central in the state, so you do have different kind of humidity, different kind of bugs. You don't have this kind of salty breeze across the city. And even in Tampa, you do get that, not just over by the beaches, but Tampa has this big bay. I mean, the Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater metro area is surrounded by water all around. It's not just like out there by the beaches, because this bay comes up, there's big lakes, there's all kinds of stuff like this. And maybe you think lakes make the opposite point, that there's probably a lot of bugs and humidity, but because it's just, you have this kind of breezy mixture, it just doesn't really come that way. And if you've watched this channel for any extended time, I'm the one to complain about bugs, partly because they bite me and it just stays inflamed for days. They bite my wife too, and she has a little itchy spot for 20 minutes and then it goes away. It's a lot more impactful in my life. So weather was the number one underrated thing, and even the hot season, I just kind of like it. You just wear less clothes, you get in the water more. I mean, it's still really cold, in the grocery store and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people, my wife included, will take a jacket to the grocery store just because during the summer, it's just gonna be so cold in there. I keep moving around here just to get the light on my face in a way I like. All right, the number 2 underrated thing about the area is free parks. So right now I'm in a county park, Pinellas County, and there's tons of big parks like that. There's big boat ramps here that get into the lake. There's a couple playgrounds, there's dog parks, there's trails. I just saw a group of cyclists go by, and it's very natural feeling. It's not commercial at all. I literally just pulled into one of the parking areas and walked behind a couple other trees so I could sit down at a picnic table and shoot this video for you. But this is not an abnormal park. There's parks like this all over. So one of our favorites is actually kind of on the north side of the Tampa area, Starkey Park. Starkey Wilderness Area, I'm not sure what it's called. It has 20 miles of trails, and it just has this wilderness feel. You don't always expect that kind of feel in Florida, but you get that feel a lot in Florida. I think you'll really be surprised by that. And I've mentioned previously, we moved from Colorado in 2020, and Colorado is outdoorsy. We were in Colorado Springs. It's one of the most active towns in the US, up there with Boulder and Denver. I think they're the most active. And in Colorado Springs, the mountains are beautiful. There's all kinds of stuff to do outside, but a lot of those things are pretty intense. You've got to have gear for it. You've got to have, prepped for the cold. whether it's a bike or a skis or whatever, kayak, whatever it is, camping gear, you kind of have to have gear, and having gear is fun. That part of it is fun too. But in Florida, if you've got little kids, or if you just want to get outside really easily and see the water and go for a nice walk, all of that is a lot more accessible here than it was in Colorado. That's always kind of surprised me. Okay, number 3 underrated thing about the Tampa area is produce markets. And we have these a little bit more in Pinellas County than in Hillsborough County. And they're just kind of all over, kind of semi-open air food markets. The same truck that delivers it to Publix or to Winn-Dixie, a lot of those same distributors distribute to these produce markets. And they're just a little bit cheaper. They have less staff. They have obviously no air conditioning or things like that. And just being able to stop by there on the way home and grab a couple things, whether it's just like, oh, I need some sweet potatoes and some ground beef for dinner, or it's like you're just walking there to get some berries for the kids. Like we frequent those kind of places all the time, and they often have little local things like local honey, local feta, like those kind of things that make these little markets really interesting. Whenever I would visit the area with my girlfriend and then fiance, now she's my wife, but before we were married, we would visit the area to visit her family. These produce markets seemed so strange to me. Just growing up in Oklahoma, we didn't have anything like that, and then obviously didn't have anything like that in Colorado unless it was like a farmer's market. This is not that. This is just like a produce stand like you would see along the side of a street selling cantaloupe or peaches, but these are just year round and have way more stuff. So it's just a place that's frequented by the community. You'll see a lot of the same people in there every other day, and when we would visit, it felt like my mother-in-law would stop in there every single day. And even if she was just like stopping to get like green onions or parsley or something, it's just an easier stop than the grocery store. Okay, number 4 underrated thing about the Tampa area. Also, this comparison from Colorado. Colorado is known for having a lot of beer, a lot of good local beer. And Tampa is really coming along that way, even like the small towns. So like Dunedin has a lot of breweries, and a lot of them that are very walkable to each other. But then Tarpon Springs, where we live, has like 5 local breweries. Some of them like award-winning. One of 5 branches, I think, won an award for their stout. I'm not a big stout fan. It's a little sweet and heavy for me. But there's a lot of good local beer. And it seems like this is only increasing. There's a new one opening just a couple blocks from our house called Sponge City Brewery or something like that. If you missed that Tarpon Springs video, it's linked up above. The sponge capital of the world. Proud of it. But a lot of good local beer, not just in these small towns, but in Tampa as well. Cigar City, Tampa Brewing Company, Florida Avenue, which is now up in like Wesley Chapel or Lutz, where their main place is. But this very kind of Tampa cultural beer, and it's all around. The one thing that I think can improve with the brewery scene, so in Colorado, this brewery scene has been growing for years, and there's really good food to go along with it. A lot of the breweries here don't serve food. They haven't gone that full like gastropub route. And in Colorado, they do that a lot more often. I'm really excited for that to happen here. And I will, just because, and some of them do have like food trucks that come up, but I don't know, that's just a different experience. I want to sit down and have a waiter and have some like unique food to go with unique beer. There's one place in Colorado Springs I used to really love, and their beer was okay, but they had really good food. They had really good like Southern food, chicken and waffles, shrimp and grits, stuff like that. I love that kind of food. Okay, number 5 underrated thing, which Phil brought up kind of indirectly, swamps. Swamps, it's so easy to think of a swamp as just like a mud pit, and it's just not the case. So I was looking at a National Geographic magazine with my daughter the other day, and it showed this Florida swamp, and you could see like a SpaceX rocket like launching behind it, like one of the big pictures of the year kind of a thing. And that swamp is so pretty to me. The water's really clear. Yeah, there's probably some wildlife in there. You don't really want to swim in there, but the natural beauty of Florida is really underrated. Things like swamps and what we'll get to next, and just all these trees, these big trees all around, forests, and all kinds of unique waterways and water features. Swamps, underrated for sure. Number 6 underrated thing is natural springs. So Phil brought this up in that video I mentioned in the beginning. There's so many like freshwater springs in Florida, and most of them come out of the ground at 72 degrees, and there's all kinds of like little swimming features around them. Now, whether you want to like rent a canoe or kayak and go down it like at Ichituckney, or you want to just like swim in a swimming hole at like Kelly Springs or Wakiva or all these that have all different kinds of options. On Kelly Springs, well, I think it's Kelly Park at Rock Springs, you can like rent inner tubes, and there's like a little tube run that's really fun, but that place fills up fast on the weekends. You have to get there like so early to get a spot. And then others just have like swimming holes, and there's something that feels so natural. The water's so cold and refreshing. It's kind of sandy on the bottom, and a few rocks, but not like sharp rocks. And there's all kinds of camping around these. There's, you know, extended path along the rivers. There's some of these like Crystal River and Weeki Wachee, places that like the manatees come up into, and you can like actually swim with a manatee, which I guess I don't feel that drawn to swim with a manatee. It does seem pretty cool though. Okay, and the final number 7 underrated thing about Tampa, which is my favorite thing about the whole Tampa area, is momentum. Being in a place that has momentum, that is growing, that's getting more popular and not less popular, I love that kind of feeling, because as a young entrepreneur, that's how I approach life. As a young dad, that's how I approach life. And if you want that kind of energy, if you want a city, a whole area that has that kind of energy, that's looking forward, that's trying to grow, that's trying to be better, this is a really awesome area for you. And if you are interested in moving to the area, we want to hear from you. So give us a call, send us a text or an email, and we want to hop on a Zoom call and really just dig into like what makes the area right for you, and what makes the specific areas of Tampa a good fit for you and your family. And if you missed that interview with Phil and Dina, that is linked up above. That's a good one to check out, because they've been here about 6 months, and you get some of their perspective, what they think about the area, what surprised them. And let me know down below what kind of questions I should ask other clients when I do interviews like this. Thanks for coming by.